Hey guys, Tom here, and welcome back to another episode of The Garage. We are here in my garage with my car behind me. As you can see, I'm describing a scene you guys can see. So, today we are talking about California's exhaust laws and emissions regulations in general. And some of my ideas to make things better for ordinary people and less ordinary people like myself and you guys that like cars. What are some ways we could make life easier for those of us that like to modify our cars without completely deregulating everything? There's regulations for a reason, there's emissions control for a reason, but what about the few exceptions that like to mess with their cars but don't want to get ticketed because their car is slightly louder than everybody else's? Here is my idea. my idea that will probably never happen in today's political climate. We could have a program for people with modified exhaust or catless cars where they can register cars as exceptions to these emissions regulations and things like that, but only if the owners of the car on the car's title have clean driving records. And so that would be a way to ensure that the drivers are responsible and that there are only a handful of people that get this exception, because a lot of people that modify their cars likely aren't going to have a clean driving record. Obviously, any tickets or infractions or anything like that involve exhaust modification should be ignored because that's what they're getting an exemption for anyways. But I would say, just to make it fair, because a lot of us don't have a clean driving record, I don't, it should be that you haven't gotten any tickets or infractions in the last 365 days. So if you've been good for a year, you can take the cat out of your car and be fine. And that would mean that would encourage smarter driving, or at least people not getting caught. And you could drive around in a car that sounds and looks the way you want it to without fear of getting pulled over by the black and whites or whatever other color scheme the cars have in your area. But yeah, California is kind of not falling apart, but the exhaust laws and all those regulations out there are a bit ridiculous. I mean, they do have a ton of pollution, so it's not completely hard to understand, but it's a shame because that place was the hub, still is the hub for the automotive community. There's so much car culture there, and it's just horrible. But we should put it into perspective. You don't have to register your car in California. You can register outside of California and just drive it there and have more than one house if you have the money. But yeah, it's crazy. It's because in California, I think it is specifically illegal to modify your car's exhaust. And here's a good story. There's someone out there with an Aventador with the sport exhaust, which I think is like a factory option for the cars. He got pulled over and got a citation for having a modified exhaust because it was a little louder than stock, and he got a ticket for having a factory exhaust. So it's just register your car outside of the state. Just do it. It's not worth it. Visit California. Not a good place to live. Unless if you're an ordinary person with an ordinary car. It's a shame. It's a shame. But it's not the worst place you could be. Someone recently commented on a video I posted from the How I Would Build series recently in relation to me recording this right now, not when this episode of The Garage is coming out. I was told by a commenter located in Greece that based on displacement, taxes can be increased. So if you have, I think he said, if you have over 1900 cc's, your taxes increase. And that you can't have over a certain amount, I think it's like 4,000, without your car being labeled as historical or something. And it's crazy. I have never heard of that before. So we definitely don't have the worst in terms of California, because Greece is having a tough time for car culture. So, I mean, even my car, my WRX, would have issues existing in Greece because it's a 2-liter. I'd have to pay some kind of extra taxes to own this car out there. So yeah, I mean, the world's changing. We're all going electric. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not in terms of the environment. I think we've all been brainwashed into believing electric cars are good for the environment. I don't know if that's entirely true just yet. think we're a long ways away before we can get to that point. There's hydrogen cars and things like that as well, but I think that's only in California. I think it's a hydrogen Honda, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, laws and regulations. I feel like it should be possible to make these regulations and exceptions, and I feel like a lot of people in the U.S. at the very least would support me on this. I think it would be really good, because then having this exception, it could carry over to when car manufacturers are no longer making gas-powered cars and are just making electrics. This exception can still be in place. It could be adjusted a little bit so that you can have an internal combustion engine car as long as you're well behaved. I don't know. Well, I feel like the exemption would be there anyways, because by that point, a lot of gas-powered cars will be 25 years or older anyways, so they'd already be exempt. I'm not sure what that's going to be like when we finally make that transition to all electric, if that's really where we're going. So yeah, that was a short episode of The Garage, but it was just something I wanted to talk about. Not all of these episodes have to be super long, obviously. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Garage. Let me know what you guys think of California's exhaust laws and all these regulations, and what you think of my idea for making these exemptions. I don't know if it's realistic. I don't know how laws work. I don't know how it works with making laws or trying to get things passed or filed, but let me know what you guys think of my idea. Maybe we can make a petition, because right now, in order to straight pipe my WRX, I'm going to probably have to get it registered in Washington because they don't do emissions tests there, but they do emissions tests in the county I'm living in right now, even though this is registered in Texas. So as long as I don't take the car to Texas, I could straight pipe it. But, well said, Tom. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Garage. I think I've already said that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I am Tom, the Racing Joker, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.